Chancellor Blumenthal, Chef Alice Waters, Chef Farmer Matthew Raiford, honored guests, welcome to the Farm and Garden's 50th anniversary. 50 years. My name is Daniel Press. I'm the Executive Director of the Center for Agroecology and Sustainable Food Systems, which is still a lousy acronym. Come on, let's fix it. We should give away a CSA share to the person who comes up with the perfect, beautiful acronym, okay? I said it. So now go hunt for that. I'm also a professor of environmental studies and very honored to be here. And speaking for the staff, the apprentices, the students of today, I can say that we are so moved and humbled and honored to have you here celebrating 50 years with us. Thank you all for coming and for coming from so far away. Thank you. Now, before I go any further, I want to do a little demonstration. So listen up. If you are a current or alumni apprentice, if you are or were a UCSC student who worked or learned at the Farm and Garden, if you are a current or past Farm and Garden staff, faculty, or researcher, or a community member who has learned with us, please stand up. Come on, get up, get up, get up, get up. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, right there. Okay. That means more standing than sitting. That's a triumph. Now, before I get started, we have many thank yous to give. So this was a weekend celebration, a year or more in the making. So lots of people to thank you. Please bear with me. First, to our staff, we'd really like to call out Melissa Betrone, our outreach coordinator and apprentice program. Melissa, where's Melissa? Thank you. I'd like to thank the CASFIS staff, Audris Blake, Heidi Harris, Vanessa Ackerman, Martha Brown, and Ann Lindsay. Tracy Takeuchi from UC Catering and the University Relations staff have been wonderful. They have really reached out to you and brought you here, so thank you to them as well. You're going to eat really well tonight. That's Alice Waters, Matthew Raiford, and UC Catering, so thank them, please. Now, we put on the deluxe weekend. That's the deluxe package here, and we were able to do so thank you to our many wonderful sponsors, including Veritable Vegetable, Sunridge Farm, Earthbound Farm, and the Friends of the Farm and Garden. So thank you to our biggest sponsors. We also got wonderful support from Cliff Bar, Feel Good Foods, Heath and Lejeune, Kingbird Farm, Lakeside Organic Gardens, Organic Valley, Simply Organic, Tend, UNFI, and if there's anybody else in the organic industry that didn't support us, well, I don't know who they are. So thank you to them. You like our new digs? Alec and Claudia Webster and the Webster Foundation, thank you so much. Right here, thank you. You have them to thank. I'd like to draw your attention to a new Food Justice and Equity Scholarship that was launched about 2 years ago. And we just received a major gift from the Bon Appetit Management Company. And as a result, we're going to be able to offer quite a few very generous apprentice program scholarships to applicants from underrepresented groups. So thank you to Bon Appetit for that. Almost done. 2 days ago, it was Alan Chadwick's 108th birthday. So thank you, Alan. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Alan. And finally, I would like to thank UC Santa Cruz's founding chancellor, Dean McHenry. So he did not have to support all this. I'm just trying to paint a picture for you. Imagine if I came today, if we didn't have all this, and I came today to George Blumenthal, our chancellor, and I said, George, I've got this wonderful idea. See, we're going to farm with draft horses, and the people are going to come, and they're going to sleep in teepees, right? No fire suppression, no nothing, porta potties and teepees. You good with that, George? Risk management would have been all over us. But Chancellor McHenry, a farm boy from Lompoc, he understood and supported us. He supported Alan up in the Merrill Garden, and then when the students wanted to bring their show down to the farm, he was there. We have Chancellor McHenry's grandson, Ian McHenry, here tonight with his spouse, Colleen. Where is Ian? Ian? All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, McHenry family. Thank you. It's amazing to have reached 50 years. Remember, UC Santa Cruz was not supposed to be doing this work. In 1967, agriculture and food were the purview of our sister campuses at Davis, Riverside, and Berkeley. So how did this happen? I could narrate for you some version of the farm and garden origin story, but many of you know it, and some of you here lived it, and I did not. So you'd probably correct me all along the way. I don't want to do that. I could explain the center's longevity and success through statistics and facts. I could tell you about the many hundreds of apprentice program alumni and the remarkable work that they, that is to say you, are doing. I could cheer for the thousands of undergraduates who have worked the farm and gardens. I could strut about and tell you that this year, for the first time ever, the Santa Cruz County Farm Bureau elected as its president an organic grower, Tom Brose, who happens to be an apprentice program alum from 95. Tom, are you here? Tom, Tom here? There he is. There he is, Tom Brose. Oh, we can applaud him again. I mean, where else in the world do you get to say that? I could tell you a great deal about research that has been carried out here and the many ways in which your little old farm and garden has transformed agriculture. But beyond the numbers and history, I'd like to offer some explanation for why the farm and garden enjoys such fierce devotion. It may be self-evident to you who are here tonight, but really, why? After all, many academic programs march through the decades with little fanfare, certainly without year-long celebrations and legislative proclamations. Even a department as fabulous as environmental studies doesn't have 500 people out here for its birthday. I believe it has a lot to do with hope and progress. During this center's entire existence, the world has experienced pain and degradation. Alas, these are part of the human condition. But when people come here, they work at and witness a beautiful, hopeful, successful alternative to suffering and pollution. Here is a place where progress does happen daily, annually. Now, as President Obama used to say, make no mistake. Make no mistake. All this progress takes a tremendous amount of work and fortitude. Imagine for a moment that you are not a young, white American man from a farm family that has land, equipment, capital, credit, water, crop insurance, distribution networks, and labor contracts. If you are not or have none of these essential elements, it is exceedingly, heartbreakingly, unacceptably difficult to make your mark on sustainable agriculture or food justice. In light of those realities, and as important as it is to have reached 50 years, the progress we witness here is so profoundly incomplete. Today, and for the next 50 years, 100 years, 150 years or more, we need a reconciliation agriculture. We need to reconcile grower and consumer, manager and laborer, white people and communities of color, the indigent, disaffected, voiceless, and dispossessed with the 1%. Americans must reconcile with, well, everyone else. We need to speak truth to a violent past and present. We need to make peace between humanity and the earth itself so that we do not steal from tomorrow in order to feed ourselves today. I believe that in our next 50 years, we must measure our progress not just in the healthy soils we build, as vital as those are, Oren, Christoph, Kirsten, Daryl, I know, but in the larger project of reconciliation. We must therefore choose a changed future, not just for us here in Santa Cruz. I'd even say especially not just for us, but for everyone, everywhere, always. We have long been the proud exception, but in the next 50 years, let us strive to make universal all that we have gotten right, precisely, exactly, while we make ourselves ever better. Let us choose, yes, thank you. Let us choose to change even our dreams, our deepest aspirations, our quietest, most secret hopes themselves. UC Santa Cruz, the farm and garden, and its community have long been choosing progress, hope, and sustainability, even when doing so is hard. But choosing this way changes our very way of seeing the world. As the poet Tess Gallagher puts it so well in this little poem entitled, appropriately, Choices. I go to the mountainside of the house to cut saplings and clear a view to snow on the mountain. But when I look up, saw in hand, I see a nest clutched in the uppermost branches. I don't cut that one. I don't cut the others either. Suddenly, in every tree, an unseen nest where a mountain would be. Honored guests, our many friends, our family, thank you for choosing and seeing us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your faith, your belief, and your support lo this last half century. Thank you. Now I'd like to turn it over to Chancellor George Blumenthal. George has been our chancellor for over a decade, but he's been on the campus almost as long as the farm and garden has been in existence, since 1973 approximately, I'm told. I'm not sure how there's anything approximate about that, as a professor of astronomy and astrophysics. But he has also been one of our most ardent supporters. I have heard him, and so I get to repeat it, go as far as to call us one of the jewels in the UC Santa Cruz crown. And for that, I'm very grateful. George, come on up.
Thank you so much, Dan. You know, Dan has been a fantastic leader for all of us. He really gets this place, doesn't he? And he's also a fantastic manager and bridge builder. You know, I've come to think that's really what leadership is all about, building bridges and having a vision. Since Dan's arrival as executive director in 2012, he has much more fully integrated the farm and garden and CASFAS facility into the life of the university. He's also strengthened the center's ties with faculty researchers and with undergraduate students, hundreds of whom have participated in internships at the farm and garden. So thank you so much, Dan. You know, thank you, Dan. It's really an absolute pleasure to be a part of this 50-year celebration of this place. It represents so much of what UC Santa Cruz is about: environmental stewardship, sustainability, and social justice. We talk a lot about Alan Chadwick and what he and a few other visionaries started right here 50 years ago. What's taken root is nothing short of amazing. 1,500 apprentices. Think about how many lives have been touched by this facility. 1,500. Research that has transformed the way food is grown. Again, talk about touching people's lives. Today, the center is the nation's oldest university-based organic research and educational program. It is the place that brought together the science and social aspects of food production. And you know you're good when people start copying what you do. And that's what's happened, with programs like ours sprouting up on campuses all around the country. We were first, and now, 50 years later, we're a global leader in the sustainable food movement. Certainly, many people have had a hand in what's grown here. Alan Chadwick may have founded our garden, and his name may adorn it, but today it could easily be called the Orrin Martin Garden as well. Orrin just celebrated his 40th anniversary on campus, so thank you so much, Orrin. And then there's Christoph Bernau. Christoph is a former apprentice who's now worked alongside Orrin for almost 20 years. And there are many others. There's Audris Blake, Daryl Wong, Martha Brown, and Ann Lindsay, and so many other people who have been a part of all of this. This has always been a collective enterprise, so really, let us honor the staff. Please, I'd like to ask all of the Farm and Garden and CASFA staff, both past and present, to please rise, because I want to salute you all. And now I have the honor and great pleasure of introducing a very special and inspiring guest. You know Alice Waters as a chef, an activist, an author, and the founder of Chez Panisse Restaurant. She is also a very good friend of this campus. In fact, we presented her with our foundation medal, the campus's highest honor, at our campus's 50th anniversary celebration 2 years ago. Alice started Chez Panisse in 1971, the same year that the UC Santa Cruz farm was established. In many ways, we are kindred spirits, independent thinkers who've challenged the status quo in ways that have far-reaching, long-lasting effects on the food system. She was an early proponent of organic, locally grown produce. And UC Santa Cruz is a place where gardening, teaching, and outreach come together. Alice and UCSC share a strong commitment to education and a conviction that working with young people is the best way to bring about change. Today, Chez Panisse and UC Santa Cruz are both California landmarks, destinations for anyone seeking to be a part of the ongoing transformation of food, farming, and education. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Alice Waters.
Whoa. I'm so touched to be part of this celebration. I can't tell you. I read Alan Chadwick's book that Paul Lee wrote, and I just burst into tears. Every other page, I think. I just it's there. It's there, and I wonder if you know how many businesses like mine that buy food from the people who are taking care of the land, who are people that were educated here at Santa Cruz, in the gardens, from Alan Chadwick. I wonder if you know how many hundreds of people, really. And we bought food from Green Gulch, the first food that we bought from Chez Panisse, and we were never looking at that time for organic. I was such a Francophile. All I wanted was taste. And guess what? Local, organic produce is what had the taste. And so that's the beautiful, delicious revolution that we're involved with. Now, I just never come up to the podium without bringing a farmer, ever, these days. And so Matthew and I are going to just talk a little bit about the menu, and then we'll come back and talk later, when you've had a glass of wine, about politics. But this menu, I have to say that I really didn't have any sort of on-the-ground work in the kitchen to do this menu tonight. I just suggested, first of all, I wanted to know everything that was available at the farm. Yes. That was the first thing.
That was the first thing.
We talked about that. We want to know what's there, and that's what we want to use. It's never the other way around. I never look in a book. I have a little bit of an idea now, having done this for 46 years, about what's likely to be available. But I never make a menu until I actually know what comes from the farm and from the local producers. So that's what it's about. And hey.
And then for me, the very first dinner I ever did on the farm was thanks to Fogline Farms and their chicken, which is some of the most amazing chicken on the West Coast. So when I was given the chance to do a chicken dish, I was like, can we go back to Fogline? So here we are. Here we are.
So enjoy this. I think it's great to have a menu right down there on as a placemat, so that you can really see where things were grown up on the other side of the hill, and that you can have a sense of time and place. And it's so important that we're all at these long tables, because it's very important. It's very important. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I could say this, that it's not just what we eat, it's how we eat. And we need to come to the human values of sharing platters of food, to eating together like this, to sitting, to talking with people we don't know, to just sharing this moment in the day. And so I hope you enjoy it, and we are so grateful to the people who are our co-producers.
Yes,
Our co-producers.
of a beautiful orchestra.
Yes. What?
Who's your co-producer?
The farmers. The organic farmers, the biodynamic farmers are our co-producers.
Oh, and Matthew. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
Of
just so that
course.
y'all know, I'm an ultimate fanboy right about now. On the for real, standing up here. My name is Matthew Raiford. I'm a 2011 alumni here.
I'm sorry. I just figured you all knew him. We'll be back later, and bon appetit. Hello again. Hello again. I hate to interrupt a meal. I really do. I'm up here with Matthew again, and he's going to be my warm-up act. And so he's got a few words right now to say, and then I'll come back.
Wow. How's everybody doing? Awesome. How was the food tonight? Awesome. So there's some wonderful ice cream that's about to come in a moment, but in the meantime, whew, a lot of people out here. I don't think I've had this many people at one of those fundraising dinners that I've done. So let me start talking about legacy a little bit. 1,500 elite. That's the number that I have inside my head right now. 1,500 elite farmers, gardeners, and ranchers that have graduated from this program and that are all over the United States. 1,500. That's a lot. It's incredible. So let me tell you about my story on how I got here. My name is Matthew Lee Raiford. I am the son of a slave that was born 1812 in Charleston, Charleston, South Carolina, who purchased 476 acres of land for $9 in taxes in 1874 in Brunswick, Georgia. I'm the sixth generation to farm that land. My children are the seventh to have planted, eaten, and harvested crops from that land. That's who I am. My journey to stand before you today started roughly in probably when I was born, to put it mildly. So, born in Bridgeport, Connecticut, but raised in Brunswick, Georgia. I graduated from high school in 1985. And when I got ready to graduate from high school, growing up on the family farm was amazing. But I wanted to be a chef. And in 1985, my dad said to me, "You want to be a chef, huh?" And I said, "Yeah, I really want to go to school to learn how to cook." And he said, "Doctor, lawyer, Indian chief. Cooking ain't one of them." And I didn't realize at the time that my father comes from the 50s and 60s for cooking. He was a baker by trade, did not learn how to read or write until he was 25. And so he felt that cooking was servitude because that's the only thing he knew. It's the only thing he heard of. It's the only way he saw his skin and people that looked like him. So he said, that ain't what you can do. So I showed him. I went in the military for 10 years. While I was in the military, I did nothing but cook, but I was not a cook. So really quick, people would find out I was from Georgia and go, man, I ain't had a good home-cooked meal in forever. I did recon for almost 10 years in the military, but every country I've ever been in, I have cooked. And people were always like, man, we need a barbecue. No problem. Whatever meat you get me and some ketchup, we'll make it happen. Right? That's what it was about. That's what it was about. But when I got out of the military, I went to Howard University to be a physical therapist. So Karen Washington's story touches really close for me because that's what I wanted to be. I had already been a destroyer. I wanted to now be a healer. But the ultimate thing was I also still loved to cook. And I also understood what it was like to actually pick what you ate because I didn't realize that people didn't eat out all their food out of a grocery store until I was in my 20s because I was raised on our family farm. So I just presumed everybody ate good, clean food all the time. That's just what I expected. That's what I thought people did, but that was not the case. So here I am at Howard University, and a friend of mine is about to graduate from PhD program. I'm a 28-year-old freshman in college, by the way. And I said, hey, let me do your graduation party. And of course, I did a grown-up graduation party with all kind of food that I had went to Eastern Market and purchased all this wonderful food. And they were like, dude, if you can cook like this with no recipes, you should go to culinary school. So I graduated from the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York in 1998. And when I finished that course, I started the bachelor's degree program. And that same year, I got custody of my daughter. So I had to choose whether I was going to finish my education or take care of my child. So I decided I'd take care of my daughter. She's now working on her doctorate right now. And all that being said, I decided I'd go back to school once my daughter started college. So in 2005, I went back to school to finish my bachelor's in culinary management. Well, that brought me here. So in 2006, this Culinary Institute of America, we do a food and wine tour. And part of that 6-week food and wine tour brought me to CASFAS. So I'm walking up this hill right over here, and I see these friggin' people in tents. And I was like, what the is that smell? What is going on? And they're like, hey, you know, you're about to cook for these folks. Like, chill out, dude. And I was like, nah, I don't know nothing about this kind of life. What are they doing up here? And I don't know if I want to do it. But to tell you how much it changed my life, when I got here, the only thing I wanted to write about was African-American vintners that were in California. But because I came to CASFAS, I wanted to write about farmers and the plight of small farmers because of the conversation I had had with students while we were harvesting. I was like, why the hell would y'all want to be here living in a teepee, living in these raggedy tents? Like, is this what y'all want to do? Is this the life? I was like, I know about farming. Y'all are playing. I grew up like this. This what you doing? Y'all ain't real. I came from a farm, 90 degrees outside in the summer, and you behind a plow. You ain't real. Like y'all, the 70s folks might have been real. Y'all ain't. I'm telling you. But listen to somebody talk to you about farming and sustainability and organics and all that kind of stuff. I was just like, wow. Is anybody writing about this? So I went to my instructor and I said, hey, is anybody writing about the plight of small farmers? And they were like, why would we write about that? We're here for a wine tour. And I said, no, we're here for a food and wine tour. We're here for 6 weeks to learn about food and wine. And so I ended up writing a paper about the plight of small farmers and what it actually takes to be a small farmer. I got a B on that paper. But within that process, I was able to see these things. And I had no idea that in 2010, when my grandmother and my aunt and my mom decided to gift deed my sister and I 28 acres of land, that I would come back to CASFAS in 2011. So as we were riding down the highway in 2010, going back from Brunswick, Georgia to Washington, D.C., because at the time I was a chef for the House of Representatives, my sister says, so which one of us going to go to school to learn how to farm? And I was like, well, we already know how to do that, don't we? And she was like, not like this. And I was like, well, we got to find the best friggin' school that, I use a different F word, but that we can possibly find, because I already graduated from CIA, so if I'm going to go to a school, it better be the top school in the United States that teaches this thing right here. And the only thing that popped up was CASFAS. The only thing that popped up. So that was kind of my journey here in 2011. But all that to be said, I am more than humbled and honored to be standing here right now today. Because where I've gotten since 2011 is only because of what I experienced here and with the people that I experienced it with. And if I leave someone's name out, charge it to my head, not to my heart. So I would like these people to stand. All 2011 apprentices and seconds stand. Oren, Christoph, Liz, Lady Diane, Akiko, Dorian, Martha, Amy. If I miss anybody, please stand. If you were here when I was here in 2011, I need you to stand. Karen Washington, I need you to stand. And the reason I say that is the only reason that I decided to go forward and try to have a fundraiser was a conversation that Karen Washington had with me. And when she goes, brother, you the only one here. I need you to understand that you need to make a difference. Now, everybody that you saw stand is the only reason that I was able to ever get a fundraiser going here on this campus. The only reason. And I appreciate every single thing that you all went through, because I know you all went through a little bit to make it happen. Every last one of you. Audris? Where's Audris? Where's Audris? Anybody see Audris? Audris is right there. Audris connected me to her father, who is Herman Blake. And if any of you all know Herman Blake and know what he's done for this campus here, amazing. But I have been on his coattail for the last 3 or 4 years for Gullah and Geechee and food that comes out of the South. And because of him, he's driving that. Just now to have a conversation with Oren right now about finding out what fruit I should plant in Zone 9A, because I can't figure it out. I know what citrus to plant, but give me some other things to work on. This is what it's about. The connections that we have here, we change. We make the change. We want policy change, we should talk to somebody next to you. Because every Caspis grad that I have met, every time I tell somebody that I came here, and they go, wait, you're a Caspis grad? And I'm like, yeah. They were like, what you need? People that haven't even graduated from the program understand that if you went here, that you are going to be a change maker. Well, there's only 1,500 of us, right? Clap, 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 clap. There's only 1,500 of us. So it behooves all of us to figure out whatever change we're going to make for whatever region we happen to live in. Black, white, purple, or green. The world is not going to change without us making it happen. Karen gave us something early today and said, hey, if you don't see the diversity that you want, ask somebody to become that, right? Ask somebody to be the change. Like I want Javon, my fiance, and I to be like Pie Ranch. I want us to be like Pie Ranch. Like I want to be able to stand up and talk about social justice and all of those things on the East Coast, and somebody go, well, you know, there's some people over there on the West Coast. I'm like, that's my homie. You know? Why? Because we graduated from this program. We are the change. Dorian, dude, you have no idea how many times I walked in your office and had a conversation with you, and just the little tidbits of watching you work with kids that was just like, this is shit everybody's supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's supposed to do it. And the only reason I'm wearing this jacket tonight is because Daryl keeps wearing that orange hat, and I needed to be a little bit bigger and better. Thank you.
Well, pretty good warm-up act. That was just great. Just great. And it just allows me to talk about a really big idea. You know, I'm from the People's Republic of Berkeley. And it's the summer of love. So I think we need school-supported agriculture. Okay? We want to feed every student K through 12 for free. A school breakfast, lunch, and an afternoon snack. We want to make school lunch look like this, maybe without the wine. We want to make school lunch part of academia so that we can have the time and attention to really teach the human values that are missing in our fast food culture. And we're at a very serious point. So we need to support all the people who are taking care of the land. And so you are all being deputized to be part of this initiative. Now, I'm unwilling to think of it as a 50-year plan. This is kind of a 5-year plan because we're going to have a new governor in the state of California. And we have likely an enlightened governor who already believes in this idea. It addresses all of the issues that we have. Childhood hunger is eliminated. We can feed children nutritious food and they grow up learning about good health for themselves, learning how to cook. I've been doing the Edible Schoolyard for 22 years. And I can tell you the one truth. When kids are involved with growing food and cooking it, they all eat it. It's 6 weeks to kale. Very, very easy. But we use the garden and we use the kitchen classroom as academic labs. It's not cooking or gardening per se. It is math, science. It's a language. It's a history class. And the kids really love it because it's interactive. They're empowered, really empowered by this. And so we have been developing on our website all the best practices from schools around the world. We went from last year 3,500 to 5,500 schools that have gardens, kitchen classrooms, or school lunch programs that are trying to teach the values of stewardship, nourishment, and communication. And it's kind of amazing because this is, I can't think of it any other way. This is such a delicious thing to do. This is so, it's taking those human values that we all really want to eat together. We all want to be connected to nature. It's our mother, and we've been taken away and we've been imprisoned, really, by a fast food culture that's destroying the world. It's teaching us the values of fast, cheap, and easy, that uniformity is important, that time is money, that advertising confers value, that it's cooking is drudgery, farming is even worse, that food should be cheap. And food has never, ever, ever been cheap. It's always been precious. You never wasted it. And our culture's telling us it's okay to waste. There's always more where that came from. Don't worry about it. Eat in your car. And the only way that we're going to reach these children is to show them that we really, really care about them. And when you put flowers on the table and you bring them to the table, they feel it. They feel like we really, really care about them. And that's, again, one of the things that's being preached to our children is that they aren't important. They don't have any money to spend. So they aren't important. Get somebody else to take care of them. They can't eat with us because they make a mess and they don't like our food. I mean, these are messages that they're hearing and feeling. So we have to just pull them back and really give them that land to throw themselves down in the grass, to reconnect. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing to see and to do. And I am really convinced that we can do this in the next 5 years because we have 50 years of organic farming in the state of California. We have enlightened politicians, some amazing people. We are going to get a new governor. We have billionaires. They help. Lots of them. We have lots of them. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could feed all of the children in California with California food? Let's keep all the money in the state. Let's keep it all here. But what can I say? Vive la révolution. Delicious.